Does using my wood stove save money? It's difficult to tell at a glance if buying and burning cordwood in a wood stove or fireplace insert is cheaper than other fuels like propane or fuel oil. Many of us use wood stoves in the hopes that we are saving on heating costs, but how can you really tell? The reason it's not easy to compare costs is that each fuel is sold by a different measure, such as by gallon, therm, ton, or cord, and each fuel has a different energy content. As if that's not enough, each type of heating system also runs at a different efficiency level. Thankfully, there is a way to account for all of these variations and do a side-by-side comparison of heating fuels. It is called the cost per useful gigajoule method. What is a gigajoule? It's a unit of energy that's approximately enough energy to heat 6,000 cups of coffee, give or take, depending on the size of your cup of coffee, if that gives you a sense of how much energy is involved. All you have to do is figure out the amount of useful heat that you get out of a given amount of heating fuel and compare that to its purchase price. Start by dividing the cost of the fuel by the fuel's energy content. Then divide that amount by the percent efficiency of your heating system over 100. Let's go through a few examples of that. So, our first example, consider a person who is using cordwood, sections of logs burnt in a high-efficiency wood stove to heat their home in the winter. Let's say that the wood is costing $175 per cord, that the wood is air-dried, and that gives us approximately 23 gigajoules of energy per cord of wood. Let's further say that this wood stove is a high-efficiency device operating at 60% efficiency. Running those numbers through that equation that we showed previously gives us $175 per cord divided by 23 gigajoules per cord. That amount divided by 60% over 100. The resulting value is $12.68 per useful gigajoule of energy. Now let's do this a second time, but this time using fuel oil as our heating source. So let's consider a person who, instead of using cordwood, is using fuel oil in a boiler to heat their home. We'll say that the fuel oil costs $2.75 per gallon. Fuel oil typically has 0.132 gigajoules of energy in it per gallon. And we'll say that this person has a high efficiency oil boiler that's operating at 80% efficiency. Running those numbers through that same equation gives us $2.75 per gallon divided by 0.132 gigajoules per gallon. That value divided by 80 over 100 gives us a number of $26.04 per useful gigajoule. Okay, comparing the two values, would you rather pay $12.63 per useful gigajoule or $26.04 per useful gigajoule? Clearly, the cordwood is much more cost effective. Another way to use this method of calculating useful energy is to actually calculate out the equivalent cost of one fuel versus another. Now, rather than manually working through those calculations, you can instead utilize Penn State Extension's Energy Selector tool. With this tool, you simply slide the inner sleeve up and down until the cost of one type of fuel lines up with the arrow. Then you can see what the equivalent cost would be of a series of other fuel types. For example, what you see on the screen here shows that heating oil at $2.75 per gallon in the leftmost window would be equivalent to, if you look on the very rightmost window, it's equivalent to approximately $360 per cord for firewood, which means if you can purchase your firewood for less than $360 per cord, you will be saving money. For more information, Visit us online at energy.extension.psu.edu, where you can download a fact sheet and other information on this and other interesting topics.